today's panel is made up of Habitat homeowners, or folks who grew up, not Habitat homeowners, but folks who grew up in Habitat homes. And before I pass it off to Inez, I want to just share some news, because this was a very, very good week for Habitat here in Miami. We are always looking for land and having a harder and harder time to find it here in Miami. We're competing with the big developers, and it's just getting harder and harder to find land. And earlier this week, the Board of County Commissioners, with the sponsorship of Commissioner Dennis Moss, deeded Habitat a 9.5-acre parcel of land in South Dade. So I am sleeping a little better because it's a huge, huge worry off our shoulders, and that should keep us busy for a couple of years at least. Interestingly, there are all sorts of zoning requirements, so we're going to have to reinvent our product. And whereas we always do single-family homes, we're going to have to get with the times and maybe do some townhomes or villas, or perhaps even have to go a little vertical. But whatever the product is, the mortgage will be a 0% interest mortgage for a deserving low-income family. And so that model doesn't change. So we're very excited, and we look forward to, once we go through the mountain of legislative and administrative hurdles, we look forward to having all of you at a job site in the very, very near future. So, as I said, the panel is made up of Habitat experts. And so let me pass it on to Inez Flores, please. She's going to be our moderator, and our panel is Jackie Olivas Sison and Adriana Resendez and Angelica Resendez. So Inez, thank you very much. And all participants, thank you for being here. And all of our panelists, thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience at Habitat. Like I said, we can talk about it day and night, but no better than from someone who went through the experience. So thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mario. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Inez Flores Vaughn. I grew up in a Habitat home. My family and I moved into our home in the year 2002 when I was 16 years old. To tell you a little bit about my background, about myself, I'm from Honduras. My family is from Honduras, and I'm a CPA, a certified public accountant. No, I don't do taxes. I work for a professional accounting services firm called the Siegfried Group. I work there as a leadership advisor. So as Mario mentioned, today I'm accompanied by 3 amazing women who will be here sharing today about our stories, growing up in Habitat and the impact that it has had in our lives, which has been infinite, to be honest. So very honored to be here, very excited to share with all of you. So my fellow panelists, we have Adriana, Angelica, Jacqueline, and each of the panelists will have about a minute or two to introduce themselves, share a little bit about their background. So Adriana, we could go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Inez. So just want to preface with my sister's also here, Angelica, so she'll be introducing herself shortly. But we grew up, we first moved in when I was about 7 years old, so more to come on that. Currently, right now, I work for a general contractor called Suffolk, and I manage our corporate citizenship program and our employee experience along with our internal nonprofit. So just a brief intro, and I'll pass it off to my sister, Angelica.
Thanks, sis. So like Adriana said, I'm Angelica. I'm Adriana's older sister, and it's been almost 20 years since we moved into our Habitat home, which is still home to this day. It's where we connect and celebrate holidays, and it's our safe haven, just in case anything happens. I actually have the privilege of working for Habitat for Humanity Greater San Francisco. I oversee our homeowner development department. I've been there for 6 years now, and I feel very fortunate to be able to pay it forward and see, little kids move into their home and remember my own experience doing that. So thank you for having us. Jackie?
Hi, and I'm Jacqueline Oliva Sison, and I grew up here in Miami. I was born in Nicaragua, and I grew up in a Habitat home just right here in Overtown. And it's still home to us. Well, my mom still lives there. And I currently work at the Knight Foundation in our Communities and National Initiatives program and in our IT department. I'm excited to be on this panel and to learn more about the awesome women and what they'll be sharing. I'm sure all of our experiences will be similar and a little different. But I got connected through Habitat again through my current employer. So it's just like life has come full circle.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Can't wait also to hear your stories. We know a little bit about each other, but not too much. So I am just as excited to hear about you ladies as well. So we'll dive right into the panel discussion. I have some questions, some discussions, some things we want to share with the group. But before we get started, I do want to mention to the audience, if you do have questions, feel free to write them into the chat box here in the towards the bottom of your screen. We'll try to answer as many of those as we can, as many of as time allows, but that is one of our goals. Definitely want to answer your questions about either our stories or anything in general with regards to Habitat. So, all right, diving right in. So, ladies, let's start from the very beginning, from when maybe you had your first memory, the first thing that comes to mind when either you found out that you were moving into a Habitat home. You remember how excited maybe you were, your family, any emotions that maybe you may remember. For me specifically, I have this very vivid image of my mom driving my two sisters and I, so it's three of us, three girls. She drove us to the lot, the site, before the house was constructed. So we drove there. I remember it was Sunday, late on a Sunday, because we had school the next day and we couldn't stay out too late. And there we were. We didn't leave the car. We just parked there, and she told us that's where our home will be. And at that time, I was probably, I don't know, 15, 14. So I didn't know all the implications. That was not part of the application process. So none of that wasn't a thing. But I remember being so excited and visualizing and thinking, wow, that's where my house, our home is going to be. So I do remember that very vividly. That's one of my first memories with regards to Habitat. So Jacqueline, if you want to share, maybe what was that for you?
Sure. I remember my mom told my sister and I, and to that point, I never had my own room. Like when we first moved to America, we shared a tiny apartment with like my grandma, my aunt, my dad, my mom, my sister, and I. So in Little Havana. And this was after my parents were separated, my mom told us, and our friends also got approved, and they were my best friends. So we found out that we were going to live like 2 blocks from each other. So to us, it was like we had just, won the greatest prize. And till now, these are my sister and I's best friends. And I just couldn't sleep. We were so excited and like planning how, like, where would we have holidays, at like our friend's house or our house. So it was definitely, a great moment for us.
Hanika, you want to do it together?
Sure.
Because we have the same memory. So why don't you start it off?
Yeah, it's interesting how like that memory is embedded. It's just like it remains in my heart, and it gets me emotional even hearing you guys share. But I do remember it was a phone call that my mom got, and she shared the news with us, and we were playing outside. So there's 3 of us, myself, Adriana, and our sister Anel, and we were playing outside when my mom got the call. And Adi, go ahead and.
Well, I have a different, I thought 2 people from Habitat came to the house. So that was my memory, but I was only 4 years old. But I do remember, I just remember awaiting the news, and my mom, and I was 4, but I knew it was something that was just going to make our parents happy. And my mom told us we're getting a house. And I remember the outside memory, right, of us going, and we lived at the time in a, so my family's all in California with the exception of myself who's in Miami. And so we lived in a converted garage, and we that was pretty much connected to the landlord's home. And so we went out to the front yard, and I remember going around in a circle singing, "We're getting a house, we're getting a house," and we wanted to sing so loud so that like the neighbors could hear us, because we were just so proud. And just we were crying, my mom was crying, and even at such a young age, you still felt like the pride and the potential change to come for your life. And yeah, it's a very vivid memory, as Angelica said.
Yeah, I just remember us like holding hands and just being so joyful at this new opportunity, because it was the second time that my parents applied. The first time was a rejection, and so the second time, you know, it was like it was meant for us, and yeah, it was just so special.
Oh, I love it. Jacqueline, you mentioned you lived in Little Havana. Like our family also, we lived in a small apartment in Little Havana. So I don't know, am I the third best friend that we never knew of?
Where is your Habitat house located?
Also in Highland Park, so across from Booker T. Washington. So
oh, okay, we're very close.
I know.
How did I not know this?
I know it took this event. So, but anyway, I love hear your stories, your memories. Yeah, some of them are very vivid. So it's great. So the other thing I wanted to I guess to talk about is, you know, the overall impact, I would say, that you know, Habitat has had on us on both a, you know, professional and a personal level, as we have progressed through, you know, now that we're adults, we're grown women, we have our own professions, our own careers. So, you know, how has that been for, you know, for you guys? So I'll let you guys get started, because I can write a thesis about this, from, you know, having a shelter, how we assisted or helped with my education, having you know, a place where I can, you know, just have space, you know, well-being. That's very important. So many things that come along with that. So maybe Angelica, if you can share maybe on a professional or personal level, or both.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. I think like I first want to, you know, just give credit to our mom for seeking the opportunity. She brought the opportunity of Habitat with the support of an ally in the community, and so thank you, Mom. And for us, the impact that it had on our family, to this day, we'll reflect on it and we'll be like, where would we be? Like, I really like 100%, and I think I can speak on behalf of my entire family, dad, sisters, mom, and that we wouldn't be where we are right now if it weren't for that home. That home gave us hope. It gave us a sense of self-worth. It gave us a sense of pride, of stability, safety. And because of that, like, you know, we saw my mom, her career trajectory really grew along, you know, the years. All three of us have at least our BA. We've been able to travel. My dad had, he's in recovery from alcoholism. He's been in recovery. And I know 100% that that's because of the Habitat home, because there wasn't that stressor to provide. In Latino culture, you know, like it's the man's supposed to provide for the family. And I'm sure that like chipped away at him, that we were moving from one place to the next and we were overcrowded. So just those feelings of self-worth, of pride, of belonging, of hope, and then of also just seeking other opportunities. I, you know, not just myself, but I've witnessed it in my entire family. And for me, like on a personal level, being the oldest, I was able to focus on school. Like that was the entire focus. And early on, it was always the focus. So there was no choice in our family. You
Yeah,
just have
same.
to get
Very relatable. I had no, it wasn't an option.
college is like a must, right? But like it just made that process so much more accessible and easier. And I think like it really has shaped me into the woman that I am. I am definitely more confident and more secure in myself, and I know my worth. I know my value. And that's definitely not just because of my parents, but also because of that home.
Yeah, I think you touched on so many key points. I think the stability, not having to worry about where you're going to rent, as a family next year, or if the rent is gonna go up, or just having that. I hear an echo. Sorry. Just knowing that, I think it's important. It's also, you grew up knowing that the value of having also a place to study. So as a kid, you mentioned education being so important. I had my own room, so I was so excited because I had a place to study or just get away from from the family. Imagine, I mean, teenagers, you think you own the world. But so I had my own space. I can't imagine that having us three girls in one small bedroom growing up as teenagers. I think I guess one of the benefits, we prevented a lot of fights as girls, trying to fight for the mirror, getting ready in the morning. So that's one thing too. But yeah, I think you touch on a lot of those things that are they're definitely resonate with me. Jacqueline, does any of that also resonate with you?
Yeah, and I want to add, like, ultimately, it's like investing in our communities because, like, we're all, all of us have education, and then um, just the qualities to give back. Like, I know, Ines, you volunteer, and Angelica and Adriana. And with myself, like, our home was really like a place of refuge for our, we did a lot of work in our church in Little Havana. So like a place of refuge for the youth in our church. Like one of the pictures I submitted to Sam, you see like all the youth in our church in our living room. And I remember my senior year of high school, I went to a private school in like near FIU. And one of my classmates, she lived all the way down in the Redlands, and she couldn't commute every day from school. So that senior year, for like a big portion of the year, she lived with us, and we would study together and do homework together so that she could get to school. So it was really a way of Habitat paid it forward to us, and we were able to pay it forward to other people in our community. And ultimately, like, that's where the impact goes. Like, yes, I'm a great person, or Angelica, you're a great person, and everyone on this panel is a great person, but we're able to, pay it forward and give on the blessings that we received. So that's where the impact lies for me.
Yeah, I love it. You mentioned community, and that's so important because Habitat is not building one standalone home. You're building communities. So back when so parents, they do sweat equity, so they need to put in hundreds of, I don't know how many hours, a lot of hours into sweat equity. So to build not only your home, but you also work on your neighbor's house. So when I was a high school student, I got countless of community service hours, of course, with the consent of my parents. I think things may have changed by now, but I did a lot of community service. I volunteered Saturday after Saturday. It taught me about working hard, of course, very important. The importance of volunteerism. I think that Habitat has instilled that in me. I don't know if I will have this altruistic side of me if it wasn't because of Habitat, because I have received so much and I've been so blessed that it's in me. I want to give back. And then it's one of those things that you do great, you do one thing and it's another amazing thing, and then another amazing consequence as a result of that. For instance, because I did so many community service hours when I applied for scholarships as a student, I was able to get a lot of financial scholarships. So I'm very proud to say that I graduated from Florida International University completely debt-free. And I'm sure that when I submitted an application with a great essay, great GPA, and they saw how involved I was in the community, helping build my neighbor's home, and doing construction work. I mean, lifting up walls, doing landscaping. I think I've done everything except for roofing. Anything with regard to the roof, that's not my jam. So I usually leave that to the experts. But yeah, I think that's it's the sense of community, paying it forward, and you building a community. It's not just this one standalone home. So does anybody else want to share about? So who didn't go?
I'll just add on. So I think my sister covered a lot of it, the same sentiment. I think one of the things too is so understanding, like many of our families, our family were immigrants from Mexico. My mom and her family came here, had to live out of their car for months. My dad had up to a 6th grade education, right? And so for us as young children, like, many of you mentioned, there was no other choice but, education and having a roof over our heads, a safe place to call home. Like my sister said, it provided a sense of dignity, and also just you take for granted those little things of, hey, I can do homework in a room, right? And so, and my parents, not only that, they put about 2,500, so that's 2,500 hours of sweat equity. And so and my mom every weekend would get the other ladies together to make lunch and make meals for all of the volunteers. And so for us as young children to see that, I think that instills, an amazing amount of work ethic in you, and drive and determination. And my mom's determination to not give up on the first time, to say, hey, and she was always advocating for us. She was our biggest advocate in every which way. And so I think all of my sisters have now become that. Our middle sister is now a proud homeowner. She has 3 children. My sister now works for Habitat. I've gone on to get my master's, and we're self-driven women. And so I think a lot of that, I don't even think a lot of it, I think, combined with my family, I always say, Habitat has literally given me my life and where I am today. Anything Habitat asks of me, I will 100% always say yes, because that's it, just period. So that's all I'll add.
I just wanted to add something, because I did notice on the comments that I think your mom is on here, and my mom is on here too. So I just want to highlight them and thank them for their hard work that they did to, because they were the real work that was, and the sweat equity that was provided. So
They're the real MVPs. I think my sister might be here. I see a Nancy Flores. She's not on video, but yeah, she is. I love you.
And your mom is here too.
Wait, my mom? I can't see all the little.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry. It's Adriana and Angelica's mom.
Got it. Yes. Oh, she's so sweet. Yeah, I can see all the squares, so I don't know exactly who is here. So, but yes, sounds like my sister and my husband are here as well. So, all right. So, one of the things you mentioned, Adriana, is anything that is asked of you, you want to say yes to. So I'm curious to see how how have you all remained involved with Habitat throughout the years, or most recently, any involvement there, and if not now, maybe goals for the future, kind of thinking ahead. So Jacqueline, we can go ahead and start with you.
So like I mentioned, I recently started getting connected with Habitat Miami, thanks to my colleague Therese Kudrow, who's on this call, and my other colleague Susan Gomez, who I shared them my story, and they shared with me Knight Foundation has an archive, and there's a photo of them working on a street, like right next to the street where my house was built. So after finding that full high. They invited me to their events, and I did the video last year for the building women building women. And other than that, I have not been fully involved, but I do hope to be involved in the future. And sign me up for your volunteer hours for your next Blitz. I'm excited.
You will be getting an email from me. Angelica, Adriana, either one of you, if you want to share.
I feel like
Yeah.
Adriana has very different experiences with Habitat. She's our spokesperson. Like, she was always, I'm just going to share this, you know, she was the baby sister, and man, she was a charmer on the like construction site. Everybody loved Adriana on the construction site. She even has a picture with Millard Fuller. That's how popular she was.
Wow. So did you get the right answer? And
But my experience with Habitat, yeah, it has been, you know, when I was in undergrad, I actually signed up to do an immersion trip with my school to go to Guatemala to build during one of our spring breaks. So, and I didn't even think like twice about it. I was just like, oh yeah, of course, I want to go to Guatemala and build a house. And then since then, I've had the opportunity through my affiliate to actually go on other global village trips. So I've built a home in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And then most recently with my sister, with Adriana, we built a house in Hoa Binh, Vietnam. So I don't just only work for the organization, I also like really enjoy just, you know, seeing the like being a part of the product and like doing the actual labor. But yeah, Adriana can go ahead and speak on behalf of how she's really just been the one that's our like family spokesperson the beginning.
So I think, yeah, like a few years ago, we got, I think, reacquainted with Habitat again, and that was through Aaron Spalding out in California. And so we got involved with some builds and then some speaking opportunities, and so that was really a nice moment for us and our family. And then also my very first job was the Peninsula Conflict Resolution Center, and I worked with largely undocumented immigrant families. And so for me, I saw it as my job to kind of spread the knowledge of what Habitat is and what and how they can benefit from it. So when I would get the opportunity to be, you know, a hosted workshop, and my sister and I worked together then too, and we'd let the parents know about Habitat for Humanity. And actually now one of those parents is receiving a home out in California, and so she was diligent and she kept at it and kept applying. And so, and you know, and it started with that very first conversation we had at the school. And so so in different capacities, but yeah, always willing to lend and help a hand in whatever capacity.
I love it. I love it. So for me, I feel like I have remained involved to one extent or another. So I have definitely volunteered in several builds. And actually, when my husband and now husband, we were dating, I brought him on to, you know, to do some volunteering, some hard work, and he loved it. And I'm like, this guy, he's the guy. He's, you know, this is perfect. I have my forever volunteer partner. So that was amazing. So we continue to do that. The Blitz, we, you know, volunteer for Blitz, which 3 years ago, we got married in the same week as Blitz, and we thought about it for a split second. We didn't do it. We didn't do it because, you know, I need to get my hair done. But we thought about it, and that was crazy. That's how, you know, passionate we are about, you know, volunteering and Habitat. So, so that's part of it. Also, I have done some home visits. So this is for the families who are going through the application process, and you go into their home and assess their current living conditions. So that was a great experience for me. I don't remember when someone came into our home, but I'm sure we went through the same process. And you get to see really, you know, like there are in similar conditions that I was in. So to be able to relate in that next level, I think it was amazing. I have also convinced my firm to be one of the sponsors for the hard hats and high heels event a few years ago. So I built in my proposition, my proposal as to why I thought that we needed to be one of the sponsors, and went through all the different approvals and were able to get that. So that was amazing. I brought in some of my coworkers. That was a lot of fun. The actual event, we always participate in the silent auction, which is where we usually get, we've won several staycations or, you know, hotel stays here in Miami. So we love that. I think we will continue to do that forever and ever. We have actually one to use now. Can't wait to have a staycation somewhere in Miami Beach. I don't remember where. So that's also one way that we've continued to contribute financially by partaking in the silent auctions. And I'm also involved with the Young Professionals Board more recently. So I know we have some members of the Habitat Young Professionals Board here on this call. So thank you guys for showing up and showing some support. We had our meeting yesterday where we're planning about all of our main fundraising events, how to stay connected in the community, even though we are working and doing everything virtual. So we have to get very creative, but you know, we're all committed and looking forward to planning amazing events for this coming year. And I mean, in general, I feel like and you ladies mentioned this, I continue to be an ambassador of Habitat for Humanity. I share everything under social media. If there's an event, I like to, you know, spread the word. I think it's very important for others to know that it's such an amazing organization that has had a true impact on me personally. And I'm not afraid to share my story. So yeah, a little bit about me and my involvement with Habitat. So I want to take it back a little bit to when we lived in their homes. Is there a specific memory? I know we talked about like that very first impression, the first memory, but do you ladies have a favorite memory? I'm sure probably plenty, but is there something that you can go back and think, this is one of my favorite experiences or memories in our Habitat home?
I definitely do. I feel like I'm talking too much, but I do. I remember when we were, I forget what it's called. I don't know if it was the blessing or
The home dedication?
maybe it was a home dedication. And so we were able to actually enter the home for the first time. And I remember running up the stairs, and to me already a 2-story home signified this like enormous house. And I walked into the house, and I can vividly remember the smell of the paint, the fresh paint on the walls. I saw the carpet, which was this light beige color, and I just assumed that, you know, only rich people had that in their homes, right? And I remember running to what would be my room that I was going to share with my sister, and I was standing there, and my bed frame was there, and I saw my mom right across in the bathroom, and I said, "Mom, we're rich, we're rich." And I literally just thought we'd won the lottery, like we were rich. And I told her that, and I remember she just started laughing at me. And so that is like my most vivid memory and my earliest memory. And now I honestly do believe we were rich, because it presented us with so many opportunities and I wouldn't be here sitting here talking with you all today. And so that is probably, yeah, by far my favorite memory. And Hanika, do you have one?
Yeah, I think it's the same, and it's interesting how we experienced it differently. So again, I'm the oldest, and I got to have my own room. And so for me, like going up those stairs and identifying my like very own room and making it my own, I just remember feeling like, this can't be real. And I took so much pride in my room. Like, my room, I remember, had, you know, purple bedding, and everything was meticulous. I had, you know, like a little desk, and it was my refuge to get away from my sisters a lot of times. But it really, like, I just remember like that, like, wow, this is my own room. I don't have to share anymore, you know, because by the time we finally moved into the home, I was 12. And I think it's really critical at that time, you know, to have a little bit of privacy. But honestly, like, when I saw that question about the favorite memory, there's just so many memories. That's like, that house right now is holding almost 20 years worth of really, really good memories. And like, even the sad ones, you know, like, even the, like, the painful ones, like, the whole point is that we're experiencing them together as a family. And like I shared in the beginning, like, that home is still my home. I'm not gonna, like, lie. I love spending the night at my parents' to this day. I'm about 40 years old. I love spending the night at my parents'. It feels comfortable. It feels safe there. You know, like, just the smell of coffee in the morning, and like, and now to see my nieces and my nephew, who are 4, 6, and 8, like, that's their home too. Like, they have a backyard that's all theirs. My parents have converted the garage to like their big playroom, and to see like that, like, this home continues to give generation after generation. So yeah, every memory to me is just so sacred, and it's so special.
Yeah. Adriana, when you mentioned the paint, one of my favorite memories is when we got to choose our paint color for the room. At some point, we painted our rooms. And my mom, I think that was, now looking back, a great way that she's always allowed us to be very independent and make our own decisions. And I picked a very bright yellow color. I'm sure when I was younger at that age, it looked amazing. Now I go back and it's blinding. My other sister picked a very bright pink one. So we still have ongoing jokes about that bright pink. But anyway, great memories. We built on our home. Before we move on, I know we're kind of coming close to, before we move on to the next portion, are there any questions from the audience that maybe we want to address? I don't know who will be the one sharing that with us.
I'd love to hear from Jacqueline too. I want to know your memory, your favorite memory.
I'll share a little bit about my memory, and then I'll share what I think my sister's memory is. And it was that my mom let her have the room with the bigger closet.
Nice.
So, yeah, I know that she's on this call, so she'll find that funny. But for me, it was actually, there was a contest. I don't know if our neighborhood had the contest, like the Net Office or Habitat did, but it was like a Christmas decorating contest of like your house and stuff. And we had never put lights up. Like, we lived in an apartment, and I think just like the joy of like putting a wreath on your door and like hanging lights and like a simple thing like that, you know, even my dad, my parents were divorced, he came to help us put the lights up. And it was just a testament of like, you know, this home really brought the differences in my parents' marriage together, where he was invested in helping us win, and we got second place that year. But it was exciting. Like, he helped me clean my room, which like, he taught me how to like deeply mop the floor, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, that was my favorite memory.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I guess if no questions for now, I guess we can continue. I think I thought I saw some questions in the chat box. I guess not.
Inez, this is Mario. I'm going to jump in real quick.
Yeah,
Most of the questions have had to do with, you know, habitat, stuff that staff can answer. So we've got that covered. But I just want to say that, you know, I've been at this 10 years, And this has been one of the most moving testimonials that I have ever heard from Habitat. Something got in my eyes. I'm sorry. I'm not crying. You're crying. You ladies are very special, and you continue to give. And Adriana, you know, you said, I'm rich, I'm rich. You were rich well before your Habitat home, because there's so much love in your family and for each other, and we should all be so fortunate. And I, for one, feel richer from having shared this experience with all of you. You know, I know that our board members and our staff, you know, sometimes we get a little discouraged with all the obstacles that we have to jump through and all the things that we have to do. And hearing from folks like you, it just brings us right back to where we need to be. This is the reason why we work so hard. This is the reason why we go through all these hurdles. And I, for one, cannot thank you enough. And just, you know, I've been trading some in the chats with some folks here, and we're just all in awe of every single one of you. So thank you for taking the time and for sharing all of this with us. I think I didn't want to jump into your role, Ines, but you know, I'm one of those controlling people. So I believe that we're going to jump into Alex. You're going to share some of the Q&A answers with us.
So we haven't had any questions posed to me directly yet through the chat. So I mean, if someone does have a question, you know, don't be shy. You guys can put it in the chat. Just send in. We'll have you guys come off mute and ask it directly to the panelists.
I think there was a question just asked about how they could volunteer.
So yes, I'm seeing that. That is Noemi, and she is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Chattanooga, Tennessee has a fantastic affiliate. In fact, one of our dear former employees went to work for them, and now she works at the United Way in Chattanooga. So they do have a fantastic affiliate, and I'm sure if you check on their website or if you give them a call, they can set you straight on how you can volunteer. I will say volunteering right now in the era of COVID is severely hampered. Some affiliates are allowing volunteers. We're still not quite there in Miami, but you know, it's been a major adjustment for us, because you know, that is something else that charges our batteries when we see volunteers and folks from all walks of life just coming to take a day to pay it forward. So so yeah, Chattanooga, Tennessee, great affiliate. Believe my counterpart there is David, and you can reach out. Tell him Mario sent you.
Mario, this is Maria. I just understanding that it's hard to certainly make plans under the current situation we all have been living in, but are you planning to have the Blitz build in February, or that's still not sure?
That's a very good question, Maria. And we are still having a Blitz. However, we have moved it to April for the possibility of being able to recruit more volunteers and for people to have a comfort level. And to be honest with you, with the COVID, there were months that we lost in terms of permitting and administrative site plan reviews and waivers of plat and water and sewer. And so we were sort of chasing our tails trying to get there. So now we've decided to do it in April. In fact, my first Blitz ever in 2011 was also in April. So it's not unprecedented. So hopefully by then, you know, it will be safe to get back in the water, and we'll have lots and lots of folks. If not at full capacity, we expect to have at least some opportunities for volunteering. And you know, let's face it, aside from volunteer labor, team builds, and that's one of the ways that we raise money. And we had to cancel or postpone our Hard Hats and High Heels event and our golf tournament and team build. So it's been a challenge to keep up. And I congratulate our development team just really working hard to at least keep us at the pace that we're used to. And the entire staff is working so hard. Our construction team is working, day and night. Well, not day and night, literally, because that would not be but they're working extremely hard because they have to make up for all the volunteer labor that is not happening. So I'm just really, really so moved by the passion of all the staff here at Habitat Miami. But I, for one, miss having the whole team together and going to a house and just, joking around with volunteers. We're on a staggered schedule, so some folks come in some days, and we really need to have the whole family together. We kind of feed off each other, so it's been a real challenge during the COVID era.
The volunteers are eager. I've heard that a lot. So
yeah.
All right, so I guess now as we move towards the end of this event, we'll have some closing remarks. And for that, I would like to introduce Yami Reyes. She is the Vice Chair of Miami Habitat's Board of Directors, and she is the team captain for Miami Habitat's Women Building Women initiatives, an initiative that at some point in my life I would like to get involved with. So Yami, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry that I was a little behind. First, I want to say thank you to all of you. And I think Alex told me, Ines, that you, or the Resendes, I don't remember, one of you guys are from Honduras, right?
Yes, I am.
Me too.
Hey, paisana.
So I have to tell you that this was amazing. I'm so glad we're recording it because I want to share this with people that I talk about Habitat to. This is exactly what we need to hear. It's just so incredible to hear your stories. You all are so successful. It's just, and to change the way that you talk about the way Habitat changed your lives, it's just so inspiring. I was crying. So I had to turn my camera off because I was just like, wow, this is exactly what we are in it for. This is what we want to hear. That you have become great members of your own communities and that you're giving back as well to Habitat. It's awesome. I know some of my board members are here. So hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. The main thing that I want to tell you guys today is that I want you to mark your calendars. Thursday, November 19th is Give Miami Day. And that is a really important day for us because when we receive your donations that day, that day for donations goes a long way for us. And that money that we raise is going to one of our new Habitat families, and Tia is with us. Tia has 5 kids and 2 grandkids. This will be she applied for Habitat 3 times, so 3 times has been the charm for her. She's going to be going back to her roots in Perrine. That's where she's from, and her house is going to be in Perrine. Tia went back to get her bachelor's in health services and currently works for Miami-Dade County. I believe for transit. So I'm gonna let her give us a little bit of her background. I know that we're supposed to be on a tight schedule on this, but I want her to say hi to you guys, and I think that you've inspired her and her kids. I hope she shares this with them because I think this is great. This is exactly what we want. We do build communities, like you said, Ines. This is, when I sell Habitat, it's not about the families, but it's also about the families that you're meeting in your community, in your background. And for one of you to say that you go back to your parents' house, that you, even no matter how old you are, going back home is always good. So thank you for being here. Again, November 19th, Give Miami Day, whatever you can give, pass it around. Alex just put something in the chat that will tell you what that is. And then also There is going to be we're doing these polls just to see how you guys like these events that we do. We can't get together, so we have to do some online events. So take a few seconds to fill out that poll. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We're not going to take it personal. We want these, we want to do this I think we need to do more of. And I think we need to get all of you together in one room once we get out of this COVID situation. So Tia, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
They're
hello,
all
everyone.
on mute. That's why they just have to wave to you.
Okay.
So tell us about you. Tell us how excited you are, yeah?
I am very excited, and I loved all of y'all's story. I was like you all. I was very emotional. I think that's what Habitat represents, is helping people and for them to share the stories of being kids and growing up to be productive adults. So those were very good stories. And she said, I'm a mother of 5. I've never lived in a home. I've lived in apartments. I've lived in a townhome, but I've never lived in a home. I've lived in public housing once and left there because the area was bad. So I'm currently in an apartment with 3 of my children. I have an 18-year-old who suffered a cardiac arrest at 15. So it's very important to separate him and my 13-year-old because they clash a lot, and he deals with some depression from the incident that he had. So it's very important to give him the space. And I can't even explain to you how excited we are about being able to actually live in a home for the very first time. And out of the 5 kids, 3 are here. So I made a goal sheet some years ago, and I accomplished everything on there. So Habitat has given me the last thing on my list, which is to be a homeowner. That is the last thing I can now X off my list. So yes, I'm very, very excited about that. And I can't wait to help out even in the future, become a part of panels, boards, volunteer, whatever's needed. I'm very excited about all of that.
That's
well,
great.
Tia, I guarantee you, I'm sorry, Yami.
That's okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Yami, for sharing with us and for all the hard work that you do on the board. You're a busy person, and you always seem to find the time for us. So really are appreciative of that. Tia, I'm glad that you kind of brought this home, no pun intended, because that is the future, and it was wonderful to hear from these wonderful women and their experience. And I hope that hearing from them motivates you when those moments that it seems that things get hard. Just think about how wonderful your children are going to feel, and your grandkids, and how proud they are of you and of the future that you're providing for them. So I can't say enough about how great this was, and I hope that we can continue meeting like this. Ideally, we meet in person in the near future, but this has been really wonderful. I want to thank Inez, Jackie, Adriana, Angelica, Tia, and Yami, and everyone.